Hi, I'm Jenny with Three Swings Furniture, and today we are going to talk all about the ABCs of mist mustard seed milk paint. You ready? Let's do this. All right, we are using real powdered milk paint today, and the prep for this is a little bit different than we've done before. So it's gonna take a minute to get our paint ready before we're actually ready to paint, but we're gonna do the same thing that we've done, paint this cabinet door with this powdered milk paint. So this is how it comes in a little package like this. It is powdered. The nice thing about it being powdered is it can sit in powdered form for a long time on a shelf and not go bad or get hard or too thick or anything. I don't know what paint does, whatever it can do. So, but let's go ahead. We're gonna mix the paint first and then move on to application, because the paint is best if it sits for just a minute after it's been mixed. Okay, so we're gonna jump around a little bit here. Here's the instructions on the paint. We are going to mix equal parts paint powder and water. So I've got a little bit of warm water in this mason jar, and we're gonna add some of our milk paint. Whoops. Now this milk paint is an all natural product. It is actually, I think there's like 5 ingredients, including milk protein. Once it is mixed into the water, so it's mixed in the paint form, it only stays good for about a week because it does have, like, say, that milk protein in it. So I'm just adding it to, oh, hello. I've never been a neat painter. So anyways, I think it looks about right. And then I've got a whisk, and they say you can shake it, you can whisk it, you can even, if you're using large quantities of paint or some of the darker colors that are harder to mix, you can even use a blender to mix it together. So I'm just gonna whisk it up in here. I'm gonna add a little bit more. The nice thing, since you're mixing your own paint, you can add more powder to make it a little bit thicker, better coverage. You can make it thinner if you want more of like a stain effect. You're in control of that. It does say that one little package like this makes 1 quart of paint. So that's about the size that is. Let me keep going here just another second. Okay, it's a nice dark color, so we're just gonna let this sit for a minute while we prep our wood, kind of let it mix together, and we'll stir it again right before we use it. So let's put that aside. All right, let's talk about application. So we've got our paint, and for application, it just says a brush, a roller, or a sprayer. So you can use just about anything to apply the paint. I'm gonna use my good old Purdy brush. It's what I have handy. I think a chip brush would actually work about the same. The paint is a lot thinner, even mixed in equal proportions than other paints we used. So I think it's gonna level out nicely, and the brush isn't gonna matter as much in this case. So use whatever you like. Now, before we get started on our piece, let's talk about prep. So it does say proper prep for this is a light sanding and cleaning. Again, I'm using one of these cabinet doors that we've used before. I have some 220 grit sandpaper. I'm just gonna scuff it up really quick because it is a smooth surface and it does already have a finish on it. So we're gonna give it a little scuff. Like that, and then let's spray it down and clean it off. Nothing too unusual in the prep. Milk paint is a little bit different than the other paints we've been talking about because it's really old. Milk paint has been around for hundreds of years. If you have a really old piece of furniture, it was more than likely painted with milk paint if it's painted. So see, they've been painting furniture for years. But the difference is that it's almost more of a stain in the way that it's a paint. If you have raw wood, it soaks into the wood and actually becomes a part of the wood like a stain would, more than just sitting on top like a paint. So you can use it either way, but it has a few different properties than just a different kind of paint. So it's a little bit different. Okay, there's what we've got there. Now, saying that, because this is an already finished piece, I'm gonna add some bonding agent to our paint. Now, this acts like a primer, but you mix it into the paint. It just ensures that the paint sticks to an already finished piece. Now, you probably know the other cool thing about milk paint in the powdered form is it can give you that really authentic, chippy look. The only downside to that is you don't necessarily have control over when it chips or where it chips. So if you love that chippy look, this is for you. Don't add your bonding agent, just paint your already finished piece and it will get that chippy look. It will kind of do what it wants to do. If, however, you want a little better coverage and a little bit of a better stick, use this bonding agent that they have. It just says add equal amounts to the pre-mixed milk paint. So I'm going to give this a good squirt in here. Maybe. And give this another little stir. What we've got. Okay, consistency of this is still really thin. Let me see if I can get any on my brush and show you. It's almost runny, the consistency. So it's really a lot thinner than most other paints. And it goes on very thin as well. However, the coverage is quite good for as thin of a paint as it is. Let me show you. This color is Artismo. It is their navy blue, and it's a gorgeous color. Okay, you can see, so really the coverage is really good for, again, as thin as this paint is. I would be maybe a little concerned with drips if I were using or painting a finished piece. However, if your piece was unfinished, it would just soak right into the wood and then you wouldn't get any drips with it. It would definitely need a second coat though if you wanted full coverage. And it's nice, it's not smelly or anything, nothing funny going on. And as far as adhesion goes, as for right now, it's sticking well to the wood. Doesn't look like it's coming off, or there's no places that it's really not sticking. So let's see what happens when it dries. All right, I'm gonna let this dry and I'll be right back with you. All right, our door is dry and let's talk about coverage now. So it would definitely need a second coat if you wanted that opaque color to show. You can see quite a bit of wood through, but it does look kind of neat. It's kind of like, it is more like a stain finish in that if you wanted the wood to show through, it would look really neat. It did adhere really well, especially with this bonding agent. It's not flaking or chipping or doing any of that on this door. And the door was pretty smooth to start. We did do some sanding, but it was smooth. So it's adhering really well. It's a really flat finish. Not as flat as like a chalk paint, but it is really flat. And it does need a sealer to increase the durability of it. So as for durability, I think you talk about it in a couple different ways. I think if it's on a raw piece of wood, the durability is fantastic because it does do the soaking in. If, however, you've got a piece that already had a finish on it, it does need that extra top coat for additional durability. And they recommend a wax, a hemp oil. I think you could use a water-based top coat as well. And that will do a couple of things. It'll give it a little bit more shine, a little bit more finish to it. It'll also darken the color slightly because it does soak into the paint. I've used hemp oil before on quite a few other projects. I love this stuff. It's great in woodworking and in some wood applications. So if you've never tried hemp oil before, give that a try. Miss Mustard Seed makes a great hemp oil that, like I say, I've used for many years and really like it. So that's what I would probably do to seal this. And like I say, it will darken and just smooth out the finish a little bit. But this is kind of neat. It gave it a cool finish. I like this stuff. It is a little bit more work in the beginning with prepping the paint and mixing it up yourself. I think that can be intimidating, and I think you could probably kind of get it wrong, get your proportions wrong. But with a little practice, it's not hard. It's just mixing a part 1-to-1, and it's just a cool product. It's a cool paint. So I really like this stuff. One more thing, let's do our scratch test. We didn't do that, and it doesn't even scratch off. It's nice and durable as is. It seems to really have stuck on, which is great. And I skipped colors. We missed colors. As for colors, there are 25 colors. They are really pretty classic colors. Miss Mustard Seed does a great job with picking the really classic old world colors. This one again was Artismo, and I love it for milk paint. I think it looks really nice. It's a really pretty navy blue. But like I say, they've got a lot of great classic colors that you could mix. You could change it up and mix them a little bit as well. But they're really nice. So I love this color. I'm a fan. Navy blue gets me every time. So. All right, that's about it for Miss Mustard Seed Milk Paint. If you've never tried it before and you want to try a paint that's a little bit different, I would definitely recommend giving this a try. Maybe do it on an old piece, something that needs that chippy finish, so you can just kind of let it do what it wants to do. But it is a fun paint to work with, and it's just cool. It's cool because it's so old, so I love that. Again, there's only 5 ingredients in the paint. It's healthy to work with. If you are saving this, we talked a little bit about this earlier, put this in the fridge. I think it lasts a little bit longer, but this is only good for a week before you would need to toss it, because it will go bad with the milk in it. Otherwise, this little pouch will be good on your shelf for quite a while. So thank you so much for joining me in this paint review. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out my website, rootsandwingsfurniture.com, for more painting tips and tricks and DIY. Also, subscribe to this channel so that you won't miss a thing. Click the button below.